Hi everyone. So this lesson is all about increasing and decreasing numbers by a certain percentage. So you've already spent a few lessons working on percentages, and hopefully you are able to find percentages of numbers both with and without a calculator. So Mr. Thomas did a lesson on that a few lessons ago. So as a starter, I'd like you to have a go at these three questions. Okay, these are examples that he went through in his video. So if you're stuck, then go back to Mr. Thomas's video, and it was called Finding Percentages of Amounts GCSE Number. Okay, so pause the video now and have a go at those three questions. And when you unpause it, I will put the answers on the screen. Okay, so the answers to those three questions were, number one was 84, number two was 143, and number three was 108. Okay, so now we're going to move on and we're going to use the skills that you have from up here to increase and decrease numbers by certain percentages. So we're going to use these numbers in our working. I thought I'd continue the examples. So the first example of percentage increase we're going to do is this one here. So increase 120 by 70%. Now, the whole way down my page, I'm going to do it without a calculator on this side of the green line, and I'm going to do it with a calculator on this side of the green line. This way is much quicker, but it's good to know how to do it both ways. So if we want to increase 120 by 70%, we want to have the original 120 and we want to add on whatever 70% of 120 is. Now, 70% of 120 we found earlier was 84. So we'd need to add on that 84. So that's our original 100%. And then this is the 70% that we found. And we're going to add them together because we want to increase it by that 70%. So that means make it that much bigger. And 120 plus 84 is 204. So that's the answer to that one. Now, if we were going to do it with a calculator over here, we're going to use a multiplier. Now, multipliers are how Mr. Thomas explained finding a percentage with a calculator. We're just going to adapt it ever so slightly. So we still want to increase our original 100% by 70%. Okay. Now, when you found 70% using a multiplier, 70% as a decimal is 0.7. And 100% is always just 1. Okay, so if we wanted to increase it by 70%, it would be the same as finding 170% of the whole number. And the multiplier that we'd use is 1.7. So that's a really important number for this question. So we're going to start with our original 120, and we're going to use our multiplier to find 170% of it. And if I put 120 times 1.7 in my calculator, I get 204, exactly like I did over there. So that's my final answer. Okay, so that's how we increase by 70% or by a certain percentage. If we wanted to decrease by a percentage, decreasing means making something smaller. So we'd have to subtract the number instead of adding it. So this time I would have my original 100% and I'd be taking away 55% of it. So on this question, my whole number, my 100% is 260, and I'm going to take away 55% of 260. Now up here, we worked out that 55% of 260 was 143. So 260 take away 143 is 117. Okay. So there we go, without a calculator, that's how we'd do it. If we wanted to do it with a calculator, then again we're gonna have to work out a multiplier to use. So we'd have our original 100% and we'd want to take away 55%. So 100% is 1 and 55% is 0.55. So the multiplier that we're going to use is 0.45. So if I took away 55% of a number, I'd be left with 45% of the number. That's what would be left over. So that's 0.45, and that's the multiplier I'm going to use. So if I was just to shove it in my calculator, I would do 260 times 0.45, and I'd end up with 117, exactly like I did over there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do some questions where we have to work out whatever multiplier we'd have to use, and then we're going to use that to increase or to decrease certain numbers. So if you go to the worksheet that is attached to the task, it's nicely laid out, and it's really, really important that you lay out every single question exactly like it is on the worksheet. That's a really, really good habit to get into. And I want you to use this method of using multipliers in your calculators to work out the final answers.